Hi everyone, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make these delicious red velvet cupcakes. I've been making them probably since 3rd grade, so quite a while now, and they always are a hit, so I'm going to show you how to make them today. You're going to preheat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and have that going while you start mixing all of your ingredients together. Ingredients, which you saw in the picture earlier: flour, cocoa powder, salt, baking soda, and sugar. So all of this needs to be sifted and put into another bowl. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to scoop a mixture of this. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to take probably half cup. There we go. And now we're just going to sift into this bowl. It might take a while, so also I suggest patting it a little bit. A little bit just came out, but that's okay. During this whole process, it gets a little bit stuck, so you have to continue doing this. Kind of continue patting it while you're doing it. This is going to take a while, so I'm going to speed it up. This does get stuck a little bit, and so it's really nice to have something nearby, like a fork, to kind of fix the clumps in there. Because the whole purpose of sifting is to get all of the clumps out. And my oven is done preheating, so that's good. I'm going to add some more, and you're just going to sift all of this and add a little bit at a time until your dry ingredients are all mixed together and sifted. Dry ingredients are sifted together. That's what they look like. And we're going to move on to wet ingredients now. Milk and the oil, you're going to actually put 2 eggs in. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and grab my eggs. And these are supposed to be at room temperature. So before I started the recipe, I left a lot of this stuff out, specifically the butter for the cream cheese frosting, as well as the cream cheese, and then the eggs. Tack that in there. Another tip, if you do get eggshell in the ingredients, you can use the eggshell to get it out. It'll work a lot better than trying to use a spoon. So there's a little tip. Okay, and I'm going to wash my hands now. Were measured out before, and the food coloring specifically was not, because it does stain your things. So if you can keep it in for the shortest amount of time possible, that is the best way to go, so it doesn't stain your things. So I have 2 tablespoons of red food coloring. I need to put the lid back on this. So yes, 2 tablespoons. And be really careful when you're measuring this out. You don't want too much. This is a lot. It's going to look like blood, but that's what we want. Also, if it dyes your hands, don't be discouraged. It dyes mine too, and we'll be twins. So, okay, that looks insane. I'm going to wash this out now because it does stain. I already stained my fingers, but hey, it's okay. And dry ingredients. So I'm going to start adding the dry ingredients to the wet and start mixing it all together. I'm going to use a power mixer, so I'm going to put it on the lowest setting. If you need to use a rubber spatula or something like that, you're totally welcome to. It's not a problem. I don't recommend using a whisk because your batter will get stuck in the whisk and it's kind of a hassle. So I'm going to add about half a cup at a time and then start mixing it. I'm going to set this over here. And here's my power mixer. I'm going to turn it again on the lowest setting so that it doesn't go everywhere. So I'm going to turn it on 1. Bloopers. Okay. And eventually this should get to adding my dry ingredients to my wet ingredients. I added about half a cup at a time. And if you are using a hand mixer, make sure that you put it on the lowest setting so it doesn't spray everywhere, especially with this red, because it will literally get everywhere and stain everything, which is not a good thing, especially if you're me, and my mom would literally murder me. So yeah, just 1/2 cup at a time and you will be golden. This should look like something like that. You can't really see it, but you get the point. It's all made and we're ready to start filling cups. First of all, I may say that this is a mini cupcake pan. So if you're going to use a mini cupcake pan, I recommend about a tablespoon per tin. And then if you're going to use a bigger pan, a regular size cupcake pan, then you're going to use like about 2/3 of a cup. and fill it that far, because if you overfill them, then they might go everywhere, but if you underfill them, then they're not going to be satisfying. So yes, ready to be put into cupcake tins. If you're using a mini cupcake pan just like I am, I would use a tablespoon and fill it that much, which is normally about halfway. If you're using a regular cupcake pan, then make sure you fill the cups about 2/3 of the way full. But I'm going to show you how I fill them. So like this, and just place it in the pan. Tap it if you need to. Try your best not to get it everywhere. There we go. So these cupcakes have been in my family for a really long time. When I was in 3rd grade, my dad decided to challenge a chef who made cupcakes and that kind of thing all the time. It was his job. He said, I bet I can beat you in a cupcake competition for Red Velvet Cupcakes. And so it ended up being this competition, and they went to a room and started, they had a bunch of college kids come in. They had the cupcakes lined out everywhere, and they tallied on the board whose was better, and my dad ended up winning this competition. So next time you have a cupcake competition, you're in good hands. You're going to have a great recipe to use. Cakes are filled. Now, if you use this recipe in particular, it should make 24 regular size cupcakes, but you're going to end up with a lot more of these because they're smaller, obviously. So keep that in mind, that you're going to have a lot of batter left over. I probably have 3/4 of the batter left, so I'm going to make a few rounds or batches of cupcakes. Be put into the oven. Again, your oven should be at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to bake mine for 21 minutes. Depending on how hot your oven runs, you might want more or less time, but the recipe calls for 20 to 22, so I'm going to go right in between those numbers. It is ready. I'm going to put the cupcakes in. Make sure you're really careful when you're putting them in and taking them out, because you don't want to burn yourself. Okay, in the oven, we have about 20 minutes to wait. I am going to start cleaning up the kitchen a little bit and prep for frosting. On to frosting. For this specific recipe, you will need a pound of cream cheese, or 2 packages, 2 sticks of unsalted butter, 4 cups of powdered sugar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Cheese, I already did this, it's in the bowl. And then you're going to add the butter. So, and this should all be softened by now, especially if you left it out while you were making everything else. So there's the butter, 1 stick and 2 sticks. This is really melty. It's so good though. Okay. All of this together on the low setting until it kind of looks like this. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, the lighting. Right there. It's really light. Now, just like we added the flour, we're going to add this a little bit at a time, so I'm just going to do that. You don't have to measure it out, but just a little bit at a time, not too much. So, incorporating all of the sugar in there, because that's what makes it taste good. Okay, there is a little bit of powdered sugar left, but when I put this all in the bowl in a plastic bag to frost the cupcakes, it won't be a problem because I can scrape it all and then combine it a little bit more. So that's what it should look like. Again, I'm so sorry for the lighting. Florida is the Sunshine State, and I'm in front of a window. Done. Not worried about that anymore. The cupcakes are coming out in approximately 2 minutes. Make sure that you don't frost the cupcakes when they're still hot. Make sure you either put them in the fridge for a little while, but that will dry them out, so be careful about that. Or set them on the counter and let them cool for a long time, or at least until they're not hot anymore in order to frost your cupcakes, because the frosting will melt off of the cupcake, and that's a mess.
The cupcakes are done. Timer's going off.
And I'm going to pull them out. They look really good. Make sure you don't get super close to the cupcakes. So here they are, all done. Your cupcakes cool, you can take them out of the pan. Wait a little bit so that you don't burn yourself, but definitely take them out of the pan. So I already washed my hands, but I'm just going to kind of wiggle it and get it out. Sorry you couldn't see that. I'll do it back here. So kind of wiggle it a little bit and pull it out. And I just have a plate right here. And this will definitely help them cool because the pan will kind of reserve the heat and it will take a lot longer for them to cool. If you want to frost your cupcakes but you don't have a frosting bag, you are in luck because I'm going to show you something. So this is a regular Ziploc bag, and obviously there are the corners here. So what you do is you open up the bag and kind of open it up a little bit so that it's open, and take your frosting on a spatula just like this and pick a side. So I'm going to pick this side and put it as far as you possibly can in, and then wipe the frosting in that area instead of the rest of the bag. If you wipe it on the rest of the bag, it kind of gets a mess, but just like so. Just like that. So it's only in a specific corner of the bag, and that'll help a lot. And if you're having trouble keeping the bag open while you do it, you can put it in a cup. So again, push the bag right there in the corner, and then press it off of the spatula. Now close your bag and twist it. Grab it at the top, and if you want to push a little bit of the air out, just open it a little bit so that the air is completely out and won't mess with the frosting. Kind of slow those so it doesn't cross. So now you have your frosting bag, and twist it so it doesn't come off the top because that's a mess. So do that. And I'm just going to cut the tip of this off, not too much, around that much. I'm not going to do it right now because my cupcakes are still cooling, and I already have another one open. But this is also really nice because you can save it that way. All you have to do when this is done, you just put it in another bag and put it in the freezer, and it'll last for quite a while, so you can put it on anything you possibly want or desire. It's really good for cake, obviously, because I'm making cupcakes. So it's good for the cupcakes. It's good with pancakes. Anything you can imagine, anything your heart desires, it's perfect for. Really simple way to frost the cupcake with what we made earlier, the piping bag. You're going to start in the middle and swirl it a little bit. Just like that. Perfect.